So I left this uploading last night around 11 o'clock in the evening. So day 6 and 7, it's only at 59%. And it's showing a grand total of 430 some odd minutes remaining. Earlier this morning it was showing about 1,000 some odd minutes. And it is now 10:42 a.m. So yeah, this is why you haven't gotten day 6 and 7 yet. And I do apologize. The Wi-Fi's are so bad. Don't be deceived by that false signal because it is a lie. Hello everybody, it is 4:15. Finally a vlog that starts somewhere later in the afternoon. So my day has not gone as planned at all. I'm not even going to get into the details because they're just silly life things that happened, but very frustrating nonetheless. But definitely just another wrench in the Camp NaNoWriMo saga that is happening this month. I did manage to get a little bit of writing done. I will give you a more accurate word count later on tonight because I think I'm going to be doing a little bit more writing because I don't have to be up super early tomorrow. I believe, let me see, I think I got at least 200-300 words done to add on, so that would be like 400 and let's just say 4,600 words roughly. And like I said, I'll give you a more accurate count, but yeah, I got a little bit, so at least that's progress, right? Yay. Right now we are getting ready to go out and celebrate my dad's birthday, so I'm gonna go downstairs and join the fam, and then we will go out and do the birthday celebrations and come home and enjoy more celebratory things. Maybe I'll take you along for that. Why not? We have done so little writing talk and so little book talk through these vlogs. I might as well take you with me, show you the dinner and everything else. Why not? At least it'll give you a little something interesting to watch. I'm sure it gets boring just watching me talk all day, so maybe it'll be fun to kind of just be along for the ride. And then when I get home, I am going to dive back into the writing because I'm liking where it's going. I'm pretty stoked about it. Definitely been enjoying it. And one of the funny things that happened today, well, I thought it was funny. Well, it was, and I'm looking at my computer, if you wonder why I'm not looking at you. I was looking at my documents on Pages, because I'm an Apple user, so everything goes through my Pages application, and iCloud saves all of my documents and stuff for me, so that I can go between my iPhone, my iPad, my laptop, my desktop, etc., etc., so that, you know, we got it all there. And give me just 1 second. I'm looking for my iCloud drive. There it is. So I was going through this and I saw all of these like stories I have written that I didn't remember at the time writing them until I was like refreshed. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've got all these like half-started stories and I didn't do anything with them. So I think later today I'll show you, give you a little preview here. This is a story that I've been working on. Tentatively, it's called Fairy Hills. I don't know if you can see that, if it'll focus or not. I really don't think that's what it's going to end up being called because it kind of started as one thing and then it led into something completely different. But I do have quite a bit done for it, which I'm excited about. And so tonight, if you are cool with that, I'd like to read you the first chapter. And hopefully you'll enjoy it because I think it's pretty cool. So come along, get a little sneak peek of this new story. This will probably be the second story that I write after finishing Collateral Damage, which is the second book in the Exist series. So I think I'm going to take a brief break from Exist before I finish with the third book, and I'm going to finish this story because I'm really loving this one and I've really been into it, and I kind of just pushed it aside so I could finish the second book. So some things to look forward to, but I am off to go celebrate with the family and I will see you guys soon. Hello. So it's 10 o'clock at night. As you'll see, there is no filler to this vlog whatsoever. Went out, did the family stuff, had an amazing dinner, did cake, all the festive birthday things, and I spent the entire time with my nephew. So my camera never actually made it out of my bag. Tomorrow hopefully will be a bit more interesting. I'll try to spice up the vlog a little bit. But what I did want to leave you with, because I haven't actually gotten any more writing yet for Collateral Damage done, I've kind of been going over this story that I talked about earlier. So if it's okay with you, my gift to you on this Friday, to celebrate Camp NaNoWriMo, is to read you a little bit of this story. I'm going to read it in chunks because the first chapter is like 13 pages and I just don't want this vlog to go on for like ever. So I'm going to give you kind of some backstory here. So at least it hopefully will make it interesting, so that when the book finally does get released, you're not like totally like having read the whole thing. So it's about this girl Sophia, and Sophia works at a computer repair shop, and she is known for her special gift of being able to communicate with those who have passed on, so like spirits and ghosts. And these are ghosts and spirits that haunt the computers that they previously owned, or the computers of loved ones. And her goal is not just to fix the computer, but to actually talk to these spirits and ghosts and find out what they're trying to say, and hopefully send them on their way and release the family or the person of the spirit. So she's kind of got this really rare and odd gift to see into alternate universes and alternate worlds. And everybody that she works with knows this, and her customers come to her specifically for this, which is just kind of her normal life, and she doesn't really think anything of it. To her, it's not weird, it's not, crazy, it just is what she does. And finally, on this one day, she's trying to get out of work, and she's kind of had a crazy day, crazy customers, crazy situations, which are talked about a bit in the beginning. And one of her co-workers comes up to her saying, "Hey, this was left for you." This is where we're going to start the story. So just to kind of give you the backstory, this is where it begins. So let's read the story together. Finally, it was time for me to go home. It didn't take me long to finish my repair notes and then pack all my stuff into my messenger bag in the hopes of making a quick exit. It's not that I didn't like being at work, but the job was draining at times, and I liked knowing I could go home, cozy up to a good book, and sit in silence for a while. Assuming none of my work followed me home, literally. As I was heading around the corner to the back door to leave, Anthony stopped me. "So this was left for you." He was holding an old black portable computer out towards me. "Okay, put it in the back and I'll look at it tomorrow." I didn't mind the extra money working overtime, but for some reason tonight I really wanted to get home. "It's not a repair, Sophia. It was literally left for you. We didn't see who dropped it off, but the note attached to it was addressed for you." He handed it to me and I reluctantly took it. There was a note attached to the top of the computer. The paper was made out of an old parchment type material, and it had a gold seal in the form of a leaf with intricate curls surrounding it. I couldn't help but eye the computer suspiciously. Is this a joke? My tone was a bit harsher than I would like it to be, but the vibe I was getting from this computer was unsettling at best. And I wasn't finding this at all funny if the guys were in fact trying to prank me. Anthony shook his head and shrugged. "No, it's weird though, but weird is what you do, right?" He gave me a sympathetic smile I suppose was meant to encourage me or make me feel better, but it wasn't working. What am I supposed to do with this? We're not supposed to take our work home with us. We really should find out who this belongs to. I was more than willing to get rid of this computer and anything that might be attached to it. Anthony considered what I was saying for a brief second before replying, "Nah, take it home. It was left specifically for you. I know it will be safe with you." I rolled my eyes and sighed as I stuffed the portable into my messenger bag and swung open the back door a bit harder than I should have. I looked back at Anthony before the door had a chance to close and shrugged, as if to say, "I'm sorry?" Walking towards the parking structure in the dark wasn't something that usually bothered me. I liked the nighttime better than the daytime. Everything just seemed a bit quieter and more beautiful at night. At night you can see the stars twinkling off the light of the moon. The lights that whiz by you on the street look like tiny glow bugs dancing around you, and the city lights turn into small, tiny galaxies. Tonight, though, I couldn't help but be extra cautious. For all I knew, there could be a creepy ninja assassin waiting around the corner for me, and this computer is his way of tracking me. Alright, that might be a bit dramatic, but in my line of work, anything is possible. I've encountered demons, ghosts, and angels, and while I found it hard to believe much more could be waiting for me, I could never be too sure. I walked as quickly as I could towards the elevator in the parking structure and headed up to the 4th floor. When I got there, all was quiet and peaceful. A few cars were still parked around mine, but there wasn't a soul to be seen. Before I left the safe embrace of the elevator, I pulled out my car keys to use as a weapon, if in fact someone were waiting for me. Thankfully, I arrived in my car uneventfully and got inside. I still locked the doors immediately though, just in case. When I set my bag down on the passenger seat, the top fell open slightly and I could see the note peeking out. I wanted to forget all about this computer, but when I touched it, I couldn't seem to ignore the unsettling need within me to discover why it was left for me. The feelings this computer gave me were completely different than anything I'd ever experienced before. Normally, I felt a strong sense of detachment from the devices I worked on. Once I got to know the depth of what I was dealing with, I occasionally became emotionally involved, but never had I felt like a computer was meant for me or calling out to me. Despite my better judgment that spoke loudly to me saying not to pursue this computer any further, I pulled out the note and placed it on my lap. The seal that was now broken glittered in the dim yellow lights of the parking structure. As I lifted the note up to examine the seal, it almost appeared to be sparkling, but I knew that had to be a trick of my imagination. I opened the note and leaned it against my steering wheel. I was shocked to see the note handwritten and in beautiful, almost calligraphy-style print. No one handwrites anything anymore, and definitely not this beautifully. Sophia, I must speak with you urgently. Xander. Xander? I didn't know anyone with that name. This had to be a joke. I placed the letter back inside my bag and turned on the car. As I drove home, I could hear the laptop sliding around inside my bag, and the sound of it moving back and forth with the acceleration made it very difficult to forget about it. The only distraction that brought me relief were the Halloween decorations adorning the suburban streets. I hated Halloween. Demons and ghosts were all too real to me, and while dressing up and playing pretend was fun, I didn't see the humor in acting as if demons and ghosts were just made-up ideas. Large, hideous ghouls hung from the rafters outside various homes. Orange and purple lights twinkled along rooftops, fake spiderwebs were pulled throughout trees, and pumpkins were carved to line walkways and porches. One night a year, people allowed themselves a moment, a mere few hours, to entertain the idea that what they fear and don't understand might actually be real. Then comes November 1st. They take down all the decorations, the kids crash from major sugar highs, and life goes back to normal. It's holidays like these that make me wonder how much exists beyond that which we can comprehend. Somehow, I was born with the ability and insight to see into different dimensions. But what lies beyond that? If we're not alone in this world, like many people choose to believe, then what else must exist to be true? I once heard someone say that art imitates life. The human brain has an incredible capacity to imagine possibilities far beyond what we've seen before. But there is always a bit of embellished truth to every story. Somewhere, the stories we love to hear and share were birthed out of a moment of truth. Halloween is the perfect example of this theory. Losing myself in the thoughts of Halloween allows me a brief reprieve, and I find myself turning into my driveway. The mysterious laptop is peeking out of my bag, and I shove it quickly into my bag again and pull it onto my shoulder as I get out of the car. My parents' car isn't in the driveway, which means they must be out for the night. I was slightly hoping they'd be home and giving me a reason to not be left alone with my thoughts, or this computer. Why had I agreed to take home this computer with me in the first place? After getting inside the house, I head instantly upstairs for my bedroom. I've never stood down a challenge, nor do I handle mysteries well. If I didn't open up this computer and attempt to unravel the mystery or prank, then I wouldn't sleep tonight. Holding onto the laptop, I let the messenger bag slide off my shoulder and onto the bed. I placed the laptop on my desk and took a quick visual inspection of it. Nothing about the laptop seemed out of place or suspicious. Chances were, I'd open it up and something would jump out on the screen trying to scare me. It was Halloween time after all, what more could I expect? I ran my fingers around the edges of the laptop, as I would do in the store before checking one in for repair, to inspect for damage or possible energy that might be flowing out of it. My ability allowed me to sense EMF energy that spirits and demons left behind when inhabiting a machine. With this computer, nothing was out of the ordinary. No extra energy, no dings or scratches. It looked brand new. If this was a prank, it was an extremely elaborate one, and none of the guys I worked with would have been able to afford this. My heart rate began to increase as I prepared myself for whatever awaited me on the other side of the screen. I placed my fingers at the center of the computer to lift the screen, and felt a shock rush through my fingertips, as a small flicker of blue light sparked when my fingers met the metal exterior. I immediately pulled them back and inspected my fingers for injuries. The spark hadn't hurt, but it was unusual for something like that to occur. I slowly reached out again and touched the computer. This time, I was able to do so without incident. I slowly lifted up the display, anxiously awaiting the surprise that had to be lurking on the other side, and found nothing. The display was blank and the computer was powered off. I could feel my eyebrows furrowing with confusion as I looked at the computer for a long moment inside. What kind of prank is this? None of my other assignments were like this either. Everything felt off and unsettling, again, about this particular computer. There was only one choice now: proceed forward and power it on. I pressed the power button and heard the chime indicating it was coming to life. With every second... Whoops, sorry, I lost my place. With every second that the loading progress bar crept along, I felt myself growing in nervous excitement to finally discover the mystery of this laptop. The screen went dim for a second, the mouse cursor appeared, and the desktop. The desktop. That's it. I placed my index finger onto the trackpad and moved the mouse around, waiting for the big reveal of the spooky, creepy zombie that was due to jump out at any second. I suppose if you find high-resolution photos of an enchanted meadow scary, then that was the big reveal. That's all I could see. The wallpaper of the computer was a fantasy-esque painting of a meadow. It was the kind of picture I would expect to find in a fairy tale book for children, or maybe hanging on the wall of an old lady's house who still clung to her innocence. I let out a quiet laugh to myself as I felt my muscles relax at the reality that I was freaking out over nothing. Now, I could just browse around the computer, try to discover why it was left for me, and move on with my night. Unlike my usual assignments, this computer was eerily silent. There weren't windows opening by themselves to reveal hints or clues about who was there, and there weren't messages being typed on their own with cryptic thoughts that took me sometimes days to piece together. No. Everything about this computer felt normal, and that freaked me out the most. As I pulled the mouse down along the icons at the bottom of the screen, I discovered a clue. The dock wasn't filled with multiple apps, it contained just one, right in the center of the screen in the shape of a chat bubble. It was a bit obvious what was meant to happen next, but I followed along and clicked on the chat icon. The icon bounced a few times on the dock and then opened with a cute sound indicating it was loading contacts and ready for communication. 0 out of 0 friends is online. I'll admit, I was a bit disappointed because I assumed I'd solved the mystery, and on the other end of the contact list would be Xander, whomever that might be. I sat in front of the computer staring expectantly at the chat window for what felt like 20 minutes, but when I checked the time, it had only been 2 minutes. I looked through the applications folder, the documents folder, and even ran the serial number through a support website in the hopes I could figure out who this belonged to. The entire computer was an empty trail as to who Xander might be, and how was I expected to contact him? If he needed to speak to me as urgently as he said, then he sure did a poor job of making that possible. My eyes were constantly drawn back to the desktop image as if it reminded me of my childhood. Okay guys, so that is where I'm going to stop because I could keep on reading and reading and reading, but it's definitely going to get a bit longer because I've written quite a bit for this story so far. But basically we're going to get into the mystery of who Xander is, the connection between the picture of the meadow, some of Sophia's extra abilities, and it's going to get pretty cool. So I hope you liked that little Freebie Friday story excerpt. If you did like it, let me know. Give this video a thumbs up or comment down below, and maybe we can do this again. But for now, I am going to end this vlog before it gets ridiculously long, and you just sit there for 30 minutes looking at me, which I'm sure is not all that exciting. But I'm going to go ahead and get back to some work, see what I can get done tonight. If I can get some writing done, I definitely will let you know tomorrow. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful night, guys. Happy reading and happy writing, book lovelies. I will see you soon.